Have you ever been scammed? Like, have you ever bought a phone? Ile unarudi nyumbani, unafungua boxi, unakuta ni kipande cha sabuni, ni tofali, au kipande cha mbao. Now, imagine being scammed for 242 million US dollars. But you didn't buy a phone, you bought an international airport. Yes, you bought an international airport. But the catch is that international airport doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Haipo. My name is Kempa, and I'm here to tell you about the world's most ridiculous true stories. And today, we are talking about the African king of scammers, the king of all scammers in Africa. Let's dive in. Our story starts in Nigeria. In the mid-90s, katika miaka ya 90, there was a man called Emmanuel Nwude. Emmanuel Nwude wasn't just a street hustler. He was the director of the Union Bank of Nigeria. This man had respect, he had connection, and he had the vibe of a billionaire. This guy knew that to catch a big fish, you had to use a very golden hook to catch them. So he wasn't going for the small minority people. He wasn't going for a single person. He was going to rob, he was going to scam a bank. Because this guy, he knew everything about investors. He knew which people were having the money. In fact, this guy wasn't playing the small league. He was playing the UEFA Champions League. He knew who he wanted to target. He knew everything about investors. He knew who were having a lot of money. He had connections with people with a lot of money. So he wanted to take a lot of money. This guy had the confidence. We can say he had the confidence of a president. Across the Atlantic in Sao Paulo, Brazil, we meet a man called Mr. Nelson Sakaguchi. Mr. Nelson Sakaguchi was also a director of a bank in Brazil. He was the director of Banco Noroeste in Brazil. So, Mr. Emmanuel Nwude, after knowing his target, he went to Brazil and approached Mr. Nelson Sakaguchi. And this time, he didn't go as himself. He impersonated himself as Mr. Paul Oguma. Mr. Paul Oguma by then he was the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. So Mr. Sakaguchi knew he was dealing with a legitimate person. After all, Mr. Paul Oguma is the governor of the bank. So he was knowing that he was talking to the most legit person on earth. So Mr. Paul Oguma, who is Mr. Emmanuel Nwude, he pitched to Mr. Nelson Sakaguchi. He's like, hey, in Nigeria, in the capital, Abuja, we are trying to build an international airport, but we need investors. So Mr. Sakaguchi is like, you need investors. How much do you need? Then the guy is like, we need approximately 191 million US dollars. But if you facilitate this investment, as for you, Mr. Sakaguchi, you'll get a 10 million US dollars as commission. Mr. Sakaguchi was like, kwa hiyo mimi kama mimi, nikikamilisha ili deal mkapata pesa, mimi napata milioni 10. Then Mr. Paul Oguma was like, yes, you get a commission. You're not working here for free. So Sakaguchi, blinded by the 10 million commission, the greed, and the prestige that he was dealing with the governor, the central bank governor of Nigeria, he fell for the trick. And he started wiring in money. Remember, this is not his money. This is the bank's money that he's wiring. So he started sending Mr. Paul Oguma the money. Remember, Mr. Paul Oguma was imposed by Mr. Emmanuel Nwude. So Mr. Emmanuel Nwude, he's the one who is Paul Oguma. Mr. Sakaguchi alikuwa anajua kwamba anamtumia pesa Mr. Paul Oguma, governor wa benki ya Nigeria. Kumbe alikuwa anamtumia Mr. Emmanuel Nwude. So katikati ya 1995 to 1998, Mr. Sakaguchi was just wiring in money. He was wiring in money to Nigeria. He knew he was sending money to the governor. He knew he was investing in the international airport of Abuja. He was just sending in money. By this time, he had sent approximately to 191 million US dollars. And the rest, which was that added up to 242, was added up into outstanding interests. So while Mr. Sakaguchi was in Brazil, knowing that he's an investor of an international airport, Mr. Emmanuel in Nigeria was balling, man. Yani the guy was partying hard. the guy was buying things. The guy was becoming more respectable. People knew that he was one of the rich people in Nigeria. Nobody didn't know him in Abuja. The guy was having fun, the girls, respect, the status was big. Mr. Emmanuel was having it loud. He even had influence in politics. Yani wanasiasa wengine walikuwa wako karibu naye, walikuwa ni marafiki zake, because he used to help them, he used to give them money for their projects. So Mr. Emmanuel was having the best of his life. Mr. Sakaguchi in Brazil, he didn't know that there was no airport. There was nothing. Kupo ni uwanja tu ambao hauna chochote, ni kama tu shamba la mpunga. Yani nothing was happening in Nigeria, but he was just sending in the money. In December 1997, during a joint board meeting at Banco Noroeste, something happens. Santander, a bank in Spain, like most those who support football know La Liga Santander. That's the word Santander. That's a bank. In 1997, they wanted to buy Banco Noroeste. So when they were in the meeting, the board meeting, the auditors noticed something. In the books, there was money that was missing. Money wasn't adding up. They asked Mr. Sakaguchi, hey, how come nusu ya pesa ya benki ipo katika bank personal account in Nigeria? Then Mr. Sakaguchi was like, don't worry, we invested in an airport in Abuja. We are the big investors of that airport. The auditors were like, which airport? Sakaguchi was like, don't you know that we are building an airport in Abuja? The auditors were like, did you go to Nigeria? Sakaguchi was like, no, I talked to the governor. Mr. Paul Oguma came here himself and he showed me the papers, everything. Like, so you didn't go to Nigeria to prove this? Mr. Sakaguchi was like, I didn't have to go. The man came here with the papers. He showed me everything that I needed for me to invest. Don't worry, I'm helping the bank. We're going to get a lot of money. The auditors were like, you're stupid. This money you've been sending on a personal account, not on a company account or the government account. This money, you've been sending it to someone. Someone out there is having our $242 million. Now this is when Sakaguchi is hit with the truth that he has been played. All this time he has been sending money to someone called Emmanuel Nwude. So, like, Santander pulls out of the deal. But to hide the shame, kuficha hii aibu, the owners of Banco Noroeste had to get their own money and pay this $242 million to hide so that people cannot know that they were scammed. So they pulled out themselves and collected the $242 million and balanced the books. But it didn't take so long. In 2001, the bank was announced bankrupt and it closed. For years, Mr. Emmanuel Nwude thought that he had won. Miaka ikapita until 2002. By then, President Olusegun Obasanjo of Nigeria was on high tension from Interpol because there were a lot of crimes that involved fraud and scam that were happening in Nigeria. So he decided to form, together with the Parliament of Nigeria, they decided to form the EFCC, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. So by 2002, the EFCC was formed, but then Mr. Emmanuel was still strong. Remember, he had the connection, he had the respect, and he had the political influence. So it took a little bit of time for him to get arrested. But in 2004, the EFCC of Nigeria, after gathering a lot of evidence, they captured him together with his accomplices. And because I told you this guy had money, by then when he was arrested, he even tried to bribe the chairman of EFCC. By then, he was even offering $75,000, but the chairman said, no, this time you're going inside. So by 2004, Mr. Emmanuel was arrested and put in jail. When he was taken to court, the king of scammers, Mr. Emmanuel Nwude, was found guilty of 5 accounts, and each account was a sentence of 5 years. So Mr. Emmanuel Nwude was sentenced to 20 years in 2004. But all of his assets were also frozen. But this guy was a very good negotiator. He went back to court and said, listen guys, some of these assets I acquired them before the scam. So he managed to negotiate and got a $52 million US deal to have some of his assets back. So this guy he went to jail, but he was sure when he got out, he was going to have $52 million US. That's how smart and a negotiator this guy is. And that's why I call him the king of all scammers in Africa. Because by then, to negotiate and have back your assets worth $52 million US, it wasn't a small deal. And that's how one man managed to scam a bank in Brazil and almost made them go broke. So next time when you see a deal too good to be true, please run away. You know, most times greed, tamaa imewafanya watu wametapeliwa. Mtu anaona deal ambayo ni nzuri sana au anaona hela ni nzuri sana, kwa hiyo anajikuta anasahau hata kutumia akili. Mr. Sakaguchi had chances to save himself, like when Mr. Emmanuel imposed himself as the governor of a bank in Nigeria. He had a chance. He could have called the Brazilian embassy in Nigeria to prove the information, but he didn't, because he had the 10 million commission in him as a greed for him. Like, yani alikuwa ametawaliwa na ile tamaa ya kuona kwamba angepata commission ya milioni 10. Still, maarifa. Watu wangu wanaangamia kwa kukosa maarifa. He had the chance of trying to prove the information, but he didn't bother. He just wired money. So next time, my friends, when a deal is too good, please run away. Sometimes think it this way. Mtu anakuletea deal, anakuambia weka $200,000 unapata milioni 10. Think it this way. Huyo mtu ana mama, ana mdogo wake, ana baba, ana ndugu zake. Why can't he take that same deal kwa hao ndugu zake, alafu anakuletea wewe, and nobody, mtu baki hakujui? So please, akili mtu wangu. My name is Kempa. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share to your friends. See you on the next one.